You've probably been told this your whole life. Get a stable job, earn a steady income, and you'll be safe. But here's the uncomfortable truth no one tells you. Your stable income might be the most unstable thing in your life. And the dangerous part is you don't even realize it because it feels safe, predictable, and secure. But that feeling isn't reality, it's psychology. Over the past few years, we've seen this illusion break again and again. In 2022 and 2023 alone, over 400,000 employees in the tech industry were laid off across companies like Google, Meta, Amazon, and Microsoft. These were people earning high salaries, people who believed they had stability, until one day they didn't. And if you zoom out, this isn't new. In 2008, millions lost their jobs during the financial crisis. In 2020, entire industries shut down almost overnight. And now with AI and automation accelerating, roles that once felt permanent are slowly disappearing. So if stability can disappear this quickly, was it ever truly stable? The answer lies in how your brain works. Your brain is designed to prefer predictability. When you receive the same paycheck every month, your brain builds a sense of safety around it. You begin to structure your entire life around that number. You commit to rent, car payments, subscriptions, and long-term expenses because it all feels manageable. But here's what most people don't realize. Your expenses become fixed while your income remains vulnerable. Your brain isn't calculating long-term risk, it's maintaining short-term comfort. This is known as present bias, where you prioritize what feels stable now over what might change later. So even if there's a small voice in your head saying, this might not last forever, you ignore it, because so far, it has. And slowly, you build a life that depends entirely on something you don't control: your employer, your industry, and the economy. But it goes deeper than money. Stable income shapes your identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who is secure, someone who is doing fine. And that identity makes you resistant to change. Why would you take risks or explore new opportunities when everything seems stable? This is called status quo bias, where you prefer to stay in your current situation simply because it's familiar, even if it's quietly becoming risky. And the most dangerous part is that stability doesn't collapse suddenly. It weakens slowly and then breaks all at once. Take inflation as an example. Over the last few years, prices in many countries have risen by 20 to 30% in essential categories like food and housing, while salaries remained mostly unchanged. So even if your income stayed the same, your purchasing power didn't. On paper, nothing changed, but in reality, you became poorer. And then there's the way stable income trains your thinking. It teaches you to trade time for money repeatedly until it becomes your default understanding of how earning works. You work, you get paid. Simple, predictable, controlled. But there's a hidden limit in that model. Your time is finite. If your income depends entirely on your time, then your income has a ceiling. Meanwhile, the world is shifting. More people are building multiple income streams, not because it's trendy, but because it's adaptive. Because relying on one source of income in a constantly changing world is inherently risky. But psychologically, diversification feels uncomfortable. Your brain sees it as unstable, even though it actually reduces risk. That's the illusion. The safer option feels risky, and the risky option feels safe. If you look at how companies operate, they never rely on a single source of income. They diversify across products, markets, and revenue streams because they understand that dependence creates vulnerability. But when it comes to personal finance, most people do the opposite. They rely on one paycheck and call it stability. The problem is that system can change without asking you. Companies restructure, industries evolve, economies shift, and when they do, you're forced to adapt. But if you've spent years relying on stability, adaptation feels overwhelming. That's why people freeze when change happens. Not because they can't adapt, but because they haven't practiced it. So this isn't about saying your job is bad or that stable income is useless. It's about understanding that consistency is not the same as security. Consistency is what you experience every month. Security is what protects you when that consistency breaks. And in today's world, the people who thrive aren't the ones with the most stable income, but the ones who can adapt, shift, and respond when things change. So maybe the real question isn't, is my income stable? Maybe the real question is, what happens if it isn't? Because the moment you start thinking like that, everything changes. You stop relying on illusion and start building real awareness. And that's where true financial security begins. Not from what you earn, but from how prepared you are without it. If this changed the way you see money or made you question what stability really means, let me know in the comments. And if you want more videos like this, simple, deep, and real, make sure you subscribe.